let's talk about some board games. What's that? Why, yes, I did cut my hair. I did it myself. So if you looked at it and was like, oh, then you know why. But if you looked at it and were like, oh, you also know why. Anyway, I literally cut my hair yesterday. First time ever attempting layers. I just wanted to change because there's a lot of change in my life right now. A lot of things in my family that's changing, and just like family members moving and things like that. So I guess I wanted to control something and change something that I could control. So I chopped my hair, hacked it. So anywho, that's how I am right now. How are you guys? Or rather, I should say, hey nerds, what's up? So anyway, I've got some new board games here, along with a board game representing a game I want very soon. I just wanted to dive in and talk about new games that I'm stoked to play was stoked to play. So anyway, I just wanted to hop in and talk about some board games. My family and I just recently had a very late Christmas celebration because of COVID and all that stuff. So we were finally able to get together, and the game that I was hoping to get, and we did get, was Wingspan, the European expansion.
Wingspan's European expansion comes with 81 new bird cards, 5 front and back end round goals, a set of 15 purple eggs, along with an additional score pad, automa cards, and an end round guide to help improve and enhance the game of Wingspan.
I love Wingspan so much. The artwork and everything is beautiful, so I'm very, very happy that we got this one. And I know that it's an older release, so it's like not brand new. But one that is brand new that came out is Dune Imperium Rise of Ix.
Dune Imperium Rise of Ix expansion comes with 2 new board pieces. One that covers part of your old board game, getting rid of some spaces and adding a new category, Chome, which introduces the Dreadnought pieces that add +3 to your conflict, as well gives you different additional bonuses and features to the game, along with a new board game piece that sits on the side that adds a new category of tech cards. The tech cards cost specific amounts of spice that will also add features to your personal gameplay, granting you different bonuses depending on what the token says. Along with these, the game brings your Dreadnought pieces, as stated before, along with new conflict cards, intrigue cards, and 6 new character cards that have unique features, each to add a different strategy and type of gameplay. With all of these new features, Dune Imperium just got a lot more interesting.
This one is so good, and I'm very happy and excited that we have it, and we are going to be playing so much of it. We've already explored a little, but there's a lot more to explore, so I'm very excited about it. So this is Tapestry's expansion Plans and Ploys, which is very fun, and it adds a bunch of different types of civilizations as well as buildings, and this is a representation for one that is coming out very soon, Tapestry's Art and Architecture.
Tapestry Arts and Architecture expansion adds so much to the game experience of Tapestry. It comes with 8 new landmarks that have unique shapes that make it more interesting to go onto your capital city mat. And speaking of capital city mats, the Art and Architecture expansion comes with 6 new advanced capital city mats that have specific instructions on how you can place your landmarks and income buildings. Art and Architecture also comes with a brand new advancement track, the Arts track. The expansion also comes with 5 new civilizations, a 20-sided die that adds the Arts track on it. Along with new Tapestry cards, the Arts track introduces Masterpiece cards. These cards act a lot like your tech cards, where they are cards that you will obtain as you advance further on the Arts track, and they add specific bonuses that you can use and reuse later on in the game. The expansion also brings new tech cards that have a new prerequisite, which is to have a landmark on that specific tech card. Another feature that the Arts track brings are the inspiration tiles. These inspiration tiles go over the original income tracks on your mat. They add additional bonuses the more income buildings that you have placed on your capital city, which adds just even more reason to go on the Arts track, as well as adding additional bonuses to the gameplay. Overall, I think that the arts and architecture expansion really completes and rounds out the entire game of Tapestry.
So these are the physical board games that I have, but then there are also a lot of board games that you guys have been telling me that I should try out. A lot to do with like aesthetically pleasing, which I'm fine with. So I wanted to dive into those board games as well and talk about which ones I'm super excited for, including some older games along with ones that are coming out later in 2022.
So the first game that I want to talk about is one that was recommended to me on my 5 aesthetically pleasing board games, which was Tokaido. And I think Tokaido is definitely one that is up my alley, not only for the aesthetics, but because it is centralized and themed around Japan, which is a place that I definitely want to visit, as well as I'm a fan of anime and all that, and Japanese culture. So thank you to Charlie Loeffler? I hope I said your name right, for recommending Tokaido. But yeah, so Tokaido reminds me a little bit of Parks, where the board is linear and you can't go back on a space that you're going to, and everyone plays at their own pace. So you can either choose to go slow and visit more places to collect more items, because that's one of your main goals, is to be the most initiated traveler, or you want to beat other players to get certain items or things before they do. So it definitely has some strategy involved. There are different things that you can do, including tasting good meals, meeting different characters and people, collecting items, discover great panoramas. So you're making these beautiful, beautiful scenes from Japan, which is really cool. So there's a lot of options. Tokaido was released in 2012, and their collector's edition was released in 2015, which came with miniatures that you could paint, which was really cool. Overall, it looks like a really fun game, as well as I think either I would love to own it or give it to my siblings, my sister and her husband, because they also really want to visit Japan and they have a lot of Japanese inspired decor already. So thank you so much to Charlie recommending this, and it's definitely one I want to check out. Bullet is another kind of Japanese inspired game in the sense of like the artwork, where it's a bunch of magical girls and they have different powers and such. But Bullet was recommended to me by my good friend Mackenzie from Side Game Co., and he loves this game. He speaks very highly of it, and it just seems like a really fun, fast-paced and interesting strategic game where each of your girl characters have different abilities, like certain powers they can control, and the whole thing is to kind of like a pattern layout game where the way that you configure your patterns or place your bullets will help determine not only the power of your bullets, but like which ones you can send to your opponent. Again, these are games I haven't played, but they look really interesting. And each round you get more and more bullets to send to not only use on your board, but then send to like your opponents, and you want to be the last one standing. It looks really cool. Again, strategic, but fun, and definitely interesting. I feel like there's going to be a lot of cool combinations depending on what girl you choose and what type of like powers that they have. So yeah, I trust Mackenzie's taste, and it seems like a really fun idea and style and type of game. Bullet was released in 2021, so it's a pretty new game, and again, received a lot of love, at least from Mackenzie. Another new game released in 2021 that has received a ton of praise is Cascadia. Again, this was another one that was recommended to me on my one of my aesthetically pleasing board game videos. This game looks so pretty. It's like a combination of Parks and Wingspan. You have different tiles. You start with 3 tiles, and there are different terrains and wildlife that comes paired with each hexagon or habitat that you have, and you are trying your best to lay out your terrain in the best way possible to not only get combos, for instance, getting a wildlife corridor, and which has the largest area of each type of habitat at the game's end. So it seems like there's a lot of ways that you combine either like the similar types of creatures or similar types of habitats. And there's beautiful art by Beth Sobel, which she also does work for Wingspan, and so just visually it's beautiful, as well as it seems randomized but still strategic. So kind of a luck of the draw, but also just placing your habitat in the best way possible. So it definitely seems like one I would love to try and play for sure. A game that has been recommended to me by several different people, including again Mackenzie from Side Game Co. and then others from Aesthetically Pleasing Board Games, is Enish. And this game looks very complicated in tactics, but also very neat, and again immersed in Celtic history and lore, which is very cool. And I love that there is a game out there that is focusing on Celtic history and lore, because I feel like that is definitely not something we see a lot. And this game has 3 different ways that you can claim victory, whether it be the leader of the island, basically being elected king of the island, having your clan present in 6 different territories, or having your clans present in territories that have at least 6 sanctuaries. And there are lots of ways that you play this game, but drafting, hand management, bluffing, good timing, and understanding the balance of power, they say, are the keys to victory. So there's a lot that you are juggling. There are different action cards you have for each round, and while you can choose not to take all of your actions, you won't have those specific cards again the next round. And then there are also epic tale cards that will help depict deeds of Irish gods and heroes, and these are going to inspire your clans and gain you feats. So it's just a neat overall lore and idea, and I'm very excited. I really want to dive into this. This game came out in 2016, and then an expansion came out in 2019, and then they released the big box, which I think came out in 2020 or 2021. So it's just a really cool idea. Ireland is also a place I really have wanted to visit for a long time, so just to have something that ties into some Celtic lore is really cool. So yeah, this game seems really fun strategy-wise, as well as just the artwork and the unique terrain pieces. Everything looks really cool and beautifully done and well thought out, so it's definitely one I want to try. This game was a pretty newly released game in 2020, which is The Lost Ruins of Arnak, or Arnak, and I just recently played this with my sister and her husband, and this was such a fun game. It's a combination of deck building and worker placement, which are definitely one of our favorite types of games. There's so many elements to Lost Ruins of Arnak. It's the board itself is huge. There's so many aspects of it. And one thing that I thought was very interesting and made this game a little bit more challenging is that there are only 2 workers that you can place. And that's it. You don't receive like an extra worker like in Dune Imperium, which is like the swords master or whatever, and you get a 3rd person to place and do things. No, there are only 2. So that made your choices really limited. But there's also a discovery track or a research track, and you are moving your specific color up the track to research, and those give you bonuses every time you move up on the track, which help you in your ability to do more things and defeat monsters. Like I said, there's so many elements to this game, but I would say it's pretty quick to understand. There are a lot of elements, but it's really neat, and all of the details and aspects of the game all work really well together to help you have longer turns than you would think you might not be able to have with just 2 pieces going around on the board. And the lore and the artwork is really pretty. Love the lore about it. I really enjoy that there are places you visit, and then when you visit those places, you have to fight their guardians. And each monster is really unique and, again, really well illustrated. They came out with an expansion in 2021, which revealed like specific characters which have different abilities that like will help you improve your game or, give you certain advantages. And that's always really fun. So again, this was a great game, and I definitely recommend it to those who enjoy deck building and worker placement. 2 new games that I am super interested in, so excited for in 2022. One that has been awaited by many fans is Frosthaven. Obviously, any of those who have played Gloomhaven or Jaws of the Lion and are aware and know the gameplay of Gloomhaven are super excited for basically its sequel. And there's just everything's going to be new. If you've played Gloomhaven, you know the detail, the lore, the world. Such an awesome game created by Isaac Childress and his whole team, and it's just been so exciting and long awaited for Frosthaven. So excited for all of the new types of creatures and characters that you get to play, along with the scenarios, the world, everything. So super excited. It's coming. We know it's coming. We're so excited to play. The other game that I am super excited that's coming out this year is Trekking Through History. My sister and I actually already have done a overview of Trekking the World, and that one is such a fun game, mainly worker placement and collecting different locations around the world. And this one just seems like such a cool concept, very similar gameplay in the sense of you are collecting different cards, but instead of locations, it's moments in history, and there's going to be time crystals and crystal tanks, so there's a limitation to how many times you can travel back in time. And again, the artwork is so beautiful, just like in Trekking the World. This one seems such a fun concept, and again, similar gameplay of you're collecting, you have different things to collect, like different types of moments in time, or different things, different criteria or different themes that you're going for, which will of course collect you points throughout. So it just seems like a similar idea, but obviously a different type of gameplay, and it just looks super fun. So I'm really excited to check this game out once it is released. Well, these are all of the board games that I'm super excited and stoked to play. I would love to know what board games you guys are super excited that are coming out this year, what games I should check out and play. Doesn't matter when they came out, and the list that I talked about didn't even cover the amount of games that you guys have already told me about and that I have compiled on my computer of games that I should check out. So I'm really excited to just keep diving into board games, and anyway, it's just super fun to talk about and anticipate the new games that are coming out. So thanks again. Please keep sharing your board game suggestions down below. Did you like this kind of just discussion video about games that I should try out and want to try out? And which board games do you own? I really appreciate any suggestions or critiques that you guys have. What do you think of my haircut? I'm just kidding. Please don't tell me. But anyway, thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Sure. See my head, which you may or may not be able to. What the future holds. Let's try that. Test shot 3. It's also angled, but okay. I still don't think I'm gonna see my head. Maybe. So if you're wondering, I have some new board games here, and did you like, and as always,